SLN. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family. The Center for Spiritual Living Nashville offers spiritual tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilled and meaningful life through a deeper connection with a higher power or universal truths. Be sure to subscribe below if you enjoy our programs. Now let's join today's service.
Good morning. I'm your host, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to Sunday morning at Centers for Spiritual Living Nashville. I'm Candy Paul, and I'm a practitioner here, and I would like to welcome you in person, and I also want to welcome our broadcast audience and invite you to join us, whether here or there. We're all in this together. We are a spiritual organization that provides lifelong healing, teaching, and support services to nurture a spiritual, principle-driven life for our community and beyond. We have a wonderful program for you today, and I know you're going to enjoy this program and our speaker, Susan Shann. And now, here's Larry Faragalli, our music director, to introduce our music team.
Thank you, Miss Candy Paul. Appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Today's featured vocalist, well, it's kind of her show today. And she's been a long time member of CSLN, and she's earned it. So let's give her a warm welcome to Susan Shann.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to have my friends Raven and Gregory singing with me. So this is a spiritual adaptation of an old, slightly corny country song that I hope you'll enjoy. It's called Looking for Love in All the Right Places. Between all races is what I'm dreaming of, securing my role as a friend and lover, 'cause every day I discover I have all I need when I'm looking for love. Sometimes I wonder what might happen you so much.
That was so great. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our center. It is February. I love February. This is Black History Month, and our newsletter will be lifting Black voices all throughout the month of February. So, CSLN celebrates diversity, honors the experience of the Black community, and believes that Black lives matter. If you would like to submit content to feature for Black History Month, email admin@cslnashville.org. A friendly reminder to please keep your nose and mouth covered with a mask while you are in the building of CSLN, including while you are seated during service. If you need reminding during service to keep your mask on, someone will kindly come and ask you to keep it up during service. And if you are still forgetful after being reminded, someone may ask you to leave the building and invite you to watch the service online. So if this is a community of love, we are all experiencing the challenge of this pandemic, and wearing your mask is a small sacrifice. After service, please feel free to chat and connect with the community. Hospitality and refreshments will resume when COVID-19 cases decline in the Nashville area. So, in regards to this week's meetings, on Monday is our team council meeting at 6 p.m., and on Tuesday is the finance committee meeting at 5:30 p.m. Both of these meetings are on Zoom. And you may have heard of something happening next Sunday, February 13th. It is the Super Bowl. But it's also my birthday. So, more important than the Super Bowl, I think. But before you start smashing the avocados and opening the chips on next Sunday, make your Sunday extra super by joining us for the Sunday service, because next Sunday, Reverend Roby's talk is titled Recommit to Love, and she will officiate a Recommit to Love ceremony for singles and couples in attendance. And so wherever you are on the love continuum, this ceremony will be your declaration to open your heart and mind to giving, receiving, and having deeper love. This sounds so lovely, so don't miss it. That will be great next week. All right, finally, are you interested in being a leader of our center? There will be an opportunity for at least 2 people to join our Board of Trustees in March. Requirements to be nominated include membership of the center in good standing and 1 year or equivalent of Science of Mind classes. So submit your interest to the admin email address, that's me, admin@cslnashville.org. Need a spiritual mind treatment? Find our practitioners on the website. Choose a practitioner by using the individual contact form and submit a request. Don't forget to give love to help our center thrive by going to lovecsln.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. Thank y'all.
Build a new world, find all the pieces and parts I need. I left them scattered down the road of 1,000 bad decisions, times I wish that I'd just believed. How do I live up to the changes I'm finally beginning to see? If I close my eyes, take a leap of faith, I know the answers will come. from the one I'm leaving behind. Break out of this cocoon, so safe and familiar. Spread these new wings and fly. How will I find my way back to my faith when doubt is all I see? If I call on love to be my guide, I know the answers will come to me. Said if I call on love to be my guide, I know the answers will come to me. Oh, yes, they will. Oh, oh, oh. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Laura Landris, and I am doing the reading this morning. It is taken from How to Use the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, Chapter 7, Speak with Authority. More and more, we shall come to see that spiritual mind practice is not an assumption, but a proclamation. In this practice, the practitioner or prayer is rising above confusion and everything that contradicts divine harmony. And we must so live and think that it is possible for us to do this. Jesus said that the blind cannot lead the blind. There must be a seeing eye, a discerning consciousness, an inward awareness. The practitioner or person praying applies this inward awareness for a definite purpose. You are harnessing the energy and the activity of this awareness to a definite intention. The result will be as certain as our consciousness makes it, because the result will correspond with that consciousness. It is in this sense that God is the answer to every human need. The divine spirit is the knower in us. The universal law is the actor. The Savior is Christ consciousness in us, knowing through us. There is no opposite to this. Nothing competes against it, nor can it be monopolized. All of God is everywhere present. The entire possibility of the action and reaction of the law is ever available. Now I invite you to know this treatment, which is by Ernest Holmes, in the first person for yourself. Divine mind is always present, always peaceful, calm, and sure of itself. It is always creating. What it creates is harmonious, happy, and always brought to fruition. There is no discord in divine intelligence. It sees things as complete and perfect. Divine intelligence is directing me, thinking and knowing through me. The law of good, which is the law of mind in action, is now bringing everything in my life to fruition. I not only know what to do, I am impelled to do it. Everything in my life is brought under control of the law of harmony. There is no deferment, no delay, no obstruction or obstacle, nothing to impede the progress of my right ideas. The doorway of opportunity and self-expression is always open. There is an increasing awareness of this in my mind and an increasing manifestation of it in my affairs. And so it is.
This is another one of mine. It's called Window. Every now and then a window opens and the light streams in. Lets you know that there's a chance to start again. Something beautiful that might begin. If you just take the time to turn, see what's waiting there. Don't be afraid to care. Let your heart be your guide and turn. Open up to the sun. Know you are the one you've been waiting for. And that window just might become a door. Once in a while, I get to dreaming like a little child, forgetting all the reasons why it can't be so. That my dream could be a window on a whole new life. If I turn, see what's waiting there. I won't be afraid to care. Let my heart be my guide and turn. Open up to the sun. Know I am the one I've been waiting for. And that window just might become a door. We can walk right through to the other side when we trust everything is gonna be alright. And we'll turn, see what's waiting there. We won't be afraid to care. We'll let our hearts be our guide and turn. Open up to the sun. Know we are the ones we've been waiting for. And that window just might become a door. And that window just might become a door. Every now and then a window opens and the light streams in. Thank you, guys.
Those are original songs from Susan.
Well, I love Susan Shann. She is truly an inspiration to me. I have watched her grow and evolve, and she has become such an inspiring speaker as well as a musician and award-winning songwriter with four CDs, acclaimed. She's a native of New Jersey, but I'm so glad she moved to Nashville. As a member of the Center for Spiritual Living Nashville And as a student of science of mind for 15 years, Sue is also a longtime activist for environmental and social justice causes within the Nashville community. Her talk today is called Looking for Love in All the Right Places. Sue?
So, of course, being a songwriter, I had to write a song for it. As you heard if you were here earlier. I need this. I want to get to a point where I no longer have to look at notes, but for now, if you'll bear with me. Good morning, all you beautiful people. Good morning. It's great to be here with you. Thank you so much, David. I don't know if David's here, but he allowed me this great privilege once again. And so I'm super excited and honored to be here for my third time speaking. Larry, Spence, Don, Brian, Raven, Gregory. Love making music with you guys. Thank you very much. And welcome everyone, whether here or online. It's great to be with you. So, the themes for the month of February are realization of God's self, embodying spirit, creating a more profound connection and alignment with spiritual essence, and building trust for that connection, taking advantage of the comfort, compassion, and security within that greater sense of spirit. In reflecting on those themes, I had to ask myself not only what they mean to me in a more broad or general sense, but what does realization of God's self, for instance, mean to me on a deep personal level? Because if we can't take these ideas and bring them to a level that we can use and apply in the day-to-day choices and challenges of our lives, then it's just a bunch of nice-sounding words, and the deeper meaning is lost. Before coming into this teaching, my spiritual background consisted mainly of the part-time Presbyterianism of my upbringing. I didn't attend a church regularly or align myself with a particular set of beliefs. I knew I felt a connection to something greater, and I certainly considered myself a good person who tried to live her values. But I also carried a heavy burden of pain, anger, and blame that I projected out onto others and onto the world, as I talked about a little bit in my last talk. I felt separate from my greater good, and I had no idea how to access it. I'd never been exposed to this simple yet profound idea that we teach here, that regardless of perceived obstacles, regardless of feelings of failure, regardless of any perceived lack or limitation or belief in unworthiness that I might still be holding on to, that if I could just stop looking out there for the answers and instead show up here and take responsibility for both my experience of life and for what I was putting out into the world energetically, that I could transform my life. And at the same time, I could create a space within myself in which to be more open and available to others, more open to a greater collective healing that can only be found through the power of shared love and communion. This was a revelation to me. It really was. This was 2006 when I first began coming here. And I cried a lot for a long time in the back of this very sanctuary. It was exhilarating, but it was painful because it meant that I had to own my grief, my cynicism, my fears, my feelings of victimization, judgment, blame, excuses, all the ways in which I had cut myself off from healing and sabotaged or limited my own possibilities. At the same time, the idea of this field of potential, this goodness expressing through me and within me as the source for what I might create or co-create in my life going forward, began to take shape in my heart and my mind. And it opened within me a window of possibilities that hadn't been there before. Now, I know the last couple of years of the COVID pandemic have been pretty tough for all of us and downright tragic for far too many. I guess you could say one of the good things that came out of all that time spent at home for me is that it finally compelled me, for the sake of my own sanity, to dig deeper into the principles and ideas expressed by our founder, Ernest Holmes, with such Passion and Clarity in the Science of Mind textbook. And I also knew, with the ability to be able to give these talks with the incredible honor of that, that I had to go deeper into my own practice of those principles. Practicing gratitude, practicing self-care and mindfulness, using spiritual mind treatment, actually learning how to do that, making time each day for daily meditation, which is profoundly impactful. At the same time, and there's no substitute for doing the work, because when you actually do the work, it takes these ideas that we think we understand and makes them experiences that we embody. And that's the difference. At the same time, knowing that we honor all paths to God, I found myself drawn to the study of Mahayana Buddhism, and I have found that to be equally transformative in my life. So my brand of realization of God's self is a typical Susan Shann, kid in the candy store, life is a grand buffet type hybrid of different philosophies and belief systems, but with one essential truth at its core, which is that we are connected to Source. Dare I say we are Source as the collective, but we are connected to Source and to one another at all times, even when it doesn't feel that way. Amen. So I chose to call this talk Looking for Love in All the Right Places, first because there's nothing more fun than a corny new thought take on an old country song for a talk being given in Nashville. More importantly, though, I feel like one of the greatest shifts in consciousness we can begin to make is to turn away from the perception or belief that we are separate from Source and separate from one another by turning toward, as Dr. Mitch taught in the month of January, the realization that we are that very essence, that very God stuff, that infinite divine intelligence expressing uniquely as each one of us. And that intelligence creates both caterpillars and the smallest life forms to universes. So that's a pretty cool thing. So I'm not going to tell you that I suddenly became a saint and felt only love for the guy that cut me off in traffic or the girl who trashes everything I believe in a rant on social media or what have you. You know, I'm still a Jersey girl, lest anyone forget. But I can no longer escape the knowledge that I alone am responsible for my own well-being. Even if I dislike someone's behavior or find myself at odds with them, I have the power to choose my response, to choose peace, to choose kindness and compassion to the best of my ability, regardless of what anyone else does. So gradually, my egoic need to react with aggression or to be right or to make someone else wrong has begun to lose its power over me. And it can still catch me sometimes, I'm not going to lie. The work is ongoing and probably always will be. But I don't sweat the small stuff as much. And when you really begin to release old limiting beliefs about yourself and know your true value, you may find, as I have, that the category for what constitutes small stuff gets a whole lot bigger. You may also discover, as I have, that true peace is never found in competition with or in opposition to one another, but in cooperation, in learning to work together to serve something greater. It's found in the quality and integrity of our relationships with ourselves, with each other, and with the natural world of which we're all a part. When we align our energies or work in groups for a common cause, a synergy can be created, an effect greater than the sum of its parts. I believe that's what Jesus meant when he said, when two or more are gathered, I am there with them. That's the kind of active faith that I believe can and is transforming our world. But these ideas run contrary to what our culture often teaches us, do they not? Many of us are taught from the time we're very young that we are separate from Source, separate from one another. We're taught that someone else's needs or problems have nothing to do with us. We should mind our own business. We should take care of our own affairs. We're taught to compete against one another, prove ourselves better than someone else in order to win or get the good stuff in life. We're taught that God's love is something we have to earn, or that it only belongs to some people and not others. And we're taught that success is to be found out there, in a particular job title or role, in material acquisitions, in a certain kind of partner, in a certain belief system, in having money, power, or influence that come from some external source. Some people are taught that they should take what they want in life, regardless of how their actions might impact others or the natural world. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting to achieve a particular status or a certain amount of material wealth or find a particular kind of partner, what have you. But to believe that our happiness and well-being are somehow based on having those things is to hold a mindset of scarcity, in which we see a need that must be fulfilled from outside ourselves, rather than first experiencing our own completion and perfection in this moment, just as we are. And to believe that we can be truly successful without considering, for example, the possible harmful effects of our choices or actions on other people or other living beings is to hold a mindset of duality, in which we once again see ourselves as separate from others, separate from the basic laws of cause and effect governing all of life, and separate from our true wealth and abundance, which is always right where we are. We need no external measure to know our worth. So we owe it to ourselves to claim that abundance and learn how to use it wisely and well. Vietnamese Buddhist monk and peace activist Thich Nhat Hanh, a profoundly influential figure who died just very recently at the age of 95, used the term interbeing to describe this phenomenon of our connection to one another, to life, and it to us. I mentioned that in a previous talk too. An ancient Sanskrit term for a similar idea in Mahayana Buddhism is pratitya samutpada, and that means mutual causation. In simplest terms, this means all things arise in dependence upon other things. Similar ideas are found in Hinduism and Taoism, as well as the different schools of Buddhism. But what's really exciting about this time right now in our collective spiritual journey, and what makes New Thought new, and not just a repackaging of those ancient Eastern mystical teachings, is that modern physics is now demonstrating to us every day in more profound ways the scientific basis for that. It's a union between science and spirituality. It's showing us that we are parts of a living, breathing, self-organizing system inseparable from the whole. Now, if that's not realization of God's self, I don't know what is. Find my place. So knowing that connection helps me understand the crazy deep love I have for this life journey, for all the amazing people in my life who inspire me daily to keep affirming and working toward a more just, peaceful, and sustainable way of living on this amazing earth together. I think it's a vision that's within our reach if we could just harness the collective will to make it happen. Knowing that connection also helps me own my pain and see it not as a weakness or something I need to fix, but as a natural expression of that love just as much as my joy, because I am connected to others, to all of you, and to other people's suffering as well as their joy. In fact, the very meaning of the word compassion is to suffer with. I believe sometimes our pain is an innate expression of our desire to heal some part of our greater body, the body of humanity, the body of Mother Earth. Author China Gallen speaks of honoring our pain as part of the wholeness of our humanity. She says, our choice is to be in love or to be in fear, which is something we also often say in Science of Mind. But to choose to be in love is to have a mountain inside of you. It means to have the heart of the world inside of you. It means you'll feel another's suffering inside your own body and you will weep. You will have no protection from the world's pain because it will be your own. And this is not to say that we need to dwell in our pain or make a story or an identity out of it. I think this is where some of us, myself included, have gotten stuck sometimes. Rather than see ourselves as victims or project that pain onto others, we can learn to simply allow it to be. Without judgment, without needing to numb or distract ourselves or pretend everything's fine. We can have compassion for ourselves and compassion for others who, like us, are dealing with their own struggles. And when we can simply sit with our pain and not look away, it's possible to gain clarity about the root causes for it. Maybe even cultivate a new insight into what we need to do to heal from within, or what part we can play in bringing about healing where it's needed. Through love, we can become bigger than our pain. Recently, I watched the movie Selma for the second time, about Dr. Martin Luther King's determined effort to get then-President Lyndon Johnson to enact federal legislation mandating voting access for all citizens, access that was being denied consistently to many black citizens by all white local and state authorities throughout the South. It was 10 years after Rosa Parks first sat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955 and was arrested for refusing to give her seat up to a white man, which is an event considered the beginning of the modern civil rights era here in America. The first march over the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama took place on March 7th, 1965, and it was intended to go all the way to the state capital of Montgomery, some 54 miles away. Inspired by Dr. King and led by a young John Lewis, as well as other organizers from groups like the Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Selma March was a response to the fatal shooting of a young man named Jimmy Lee Jackson during a previous march for black voting rights in Marion, Alabama. Hundreds of black citizens and organizers gathered in Selma that day with a pledge to remain entirely nonviolent, even knowing that violence would likely be inflicted upon them by the local white police force and by their own white fellow citizens. And that's exactly what came to pass. Only this time, the brutality and intimidation they had endured for years was televised to millions of Americans, many of whom were shocked and outraged by the injustice, witnessing it so clearly. That first march became known as Bloody Sunday, and it motivated thousands of ministers, rabbis, priests, activists, and citizens to go to Selma at the urging of Dr. King for a second and third march, setting in motion a series of events that finally led to the passage of Johnson's Voting Rights Act of 1965. Watching again the film's depiction of these historic events brought home for me the truth of China Gallen's words. Like those who saw it happen in real time, I felt the gut-wrenching pain of how racism and bigotry try to destroy our common humanity, our God self, through the big lies of separation and supremacy of one race over another. In a way, Selma is a perfect metaphor for that process of awakening, for seeing different levels of consciousness about the truth of who we are, both through the agonizing lens of racism as well as through the love, courage, and faith of Dr. King and all the brave men and women who persevered, even risked their own lives to fulfill a vision of true equality and justice. It's a vision that has seen great progress, but it still remains unfulfilled in too many of our policies and institutions and in too many human hearts and minds. It's a powerful reminder that much of that progress toward awakening has been born of pain and struggle, and that struggle continues even today. It's also symbolic of an ever-growing shared belief throughout the world that something better is possible, and is already unfolding around us if we choose to put our attention and focus on that. This something is what author and eco-activist Paul Hawken calls blessed unrest, the diverse work of millions of everyday people, just like you and me, to create a better world, one that can work for all people and all beings. So many of the larger issues we face within our society are, like racism and bigotry, like man-made climate change and other issues, not just political, they're human, they're moral, they're spiritual issues. They come down to one basic question: how do we see ourselves? Are we separate? Servants of a harsh and judgmental God, one who plays favorites, who wants us to fear him and calls on us to compete and fight with one another? Or treat our magnificent living earth as nothing more than a supply house and sewer for endless human consumption and waste? Or are we part of a miraculous, ever-evolving web of life and intelligence connected to each other, connected to the earth, and actively honoring and caring for those sacred relationships beyond our differences? We can celebrate our differences. Einstein is famously quoted as having said, "You can't solve a problem at the level of the problem." Whether a challenge we face plays out on the level of a single relationship or on the level of conflict within or among countries, we can choose to remember that the light and potential of who we truly are is always there, always within us, awaiting our recognition. And when we want to give in to feelings of anger, frustration, despair, or shut down our emotional response altogether, we can instead affirm our good, affirm the new possibilities always arising within and around us. You just gotta look. We can know that we have unique gifts and talents the world needs waiting to be expressed. We can remember that we're never alone, that others are experiencing or have experienced what we're going through. We can open to a deep well of strength, wisdom, and compassion that enables us to see beyond conditions, beyond appearances of lack or separation, to that shared presence of peace and joy at the core of our being. Now, I'm not suggesting that making that shift is easy, but I believe it's exactly what you and I have come here to learn how to do. This, to me, is what it means to embody and express God's self. And so it is.
Thank you, Susan. Now it's time to give back to what serves us. I would like to ask our ushers to come forward now. We can also accept your gift using your card in the bookstore. And for our online viewers, please make a contribution using the link in the description below, or mail your check to our street address. Now, repeat after me. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you for your loving gifts.
So this song is from the movie Selma, written by John Legend and Common, and we're gonna do it for you right now. It's called Glory. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory. Glory. Yeah, yeah. Glory. positioning us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, his spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through America with our hands up. When it goes down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots, we're on the ground. The camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up. When the glory comes, it'll be us. It'll be us. Whoa. One day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Whoa. Glory, glory, glory. Victory isn't won, and we'll fight on to the finish. Then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory, glory, we'll cry glory, oh glory, yeah, Selma's now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They march with a torch, we're gonna run with it now. Never look back, we done gone hundreds of miles. From dark roads, heroes, to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. The enemy was lethal, but King became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald eagle. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win the war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders, the young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord. My eyes have seen the glory.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours.
It's ours.
It will be ours. Whoa. One day, when the war is won, we will be sure.
So sure.
We will be sure. Glory, glory,
Now the war is not over, victory isn't won, and we'll fight on to the finish. And then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory,
Susan Shann, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sue Shann. And let's thank Sue and the band. Let's give another round of applause. And if you have a concern, something that's heavy on your heart, or you just need someone to be of support to you, practitioners are available. Laura Landris and I will be available, and we'll be happy to pray with you. And we're, again, not having fellowship hall for coffee and tea because of COVID, so we're having virtual snacks in our heads. And in anticipation of the day when we can join again together in the fellowship hall, but I'm so happy that we are here in person. And if you feel comfortable, we would love to recognize anyone who is a visitor here. We want to honor the fact that you have been brave enough to come join us, and we love you. Anyone here feel brave enough to stand? Well, then I consider all of us, there are no visitors per se, there are only family. We're all family, and I just thank you so much for coming here. I would like to ask the practitioners and our speaker to come to the front, and I am going to offer a closing prayer treatment. Okay, take a deep breath. Just let the wonderful message resonate in your heart. The glory, the freedom, the harmony. Treat with me. I'm saying this in the first person. Excuse me. You make this personal to you. There is one heart, one mind, one life. That life is God, and that life is my life. And I know it sustains and supports and comforts and honors the oneness that we all experience in the life and love of the immense intelligence that created us and upholds us and is us. And I know that we have a heart for freedom and to honor each person individually and as a collective. I thank you, Father, Mother, God, that I am a child of light, offering harmony, peace, and awareness where I stand, where I am right now, and to all and with all. I thank you right now that this is so, and that this coming week will be an ongoing expression of the life and lessons we have shared today. And together we say, and so it is. So everyone, please stand as we sing our closing song.
Center for Spiritual Living Nashville. May your life be filled with joy and prosperity in every way. Learn more about our programs or contact one of our practitioners at our website, cslnashville.org. You may also want to follow us on Facebook at CSLNASH. You can make a big difference with your financial gift at lovecsln.com. Please share the link to this program with a friend and join us again next Sunday. Have a wonderful week.